Welcome everyone to our January town hall. I think last month we had our first one, and the reception was pretty good. It gave people an idea of what everyone's working on. So today we'll have a similar setup and kind of hear from different people, from new people, and then hear about how our development progress is going. And thank you for everyone who, whether it's like midnight or 4 a.m. or 7 a.m., wherever in the world you are, for staying up or waking up early. All right, let's start with a quick update. This time we'll go and hear a quick update from Jarrad about kind of his perspective on the company, how things are going.
Sure. So, cool. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Great. Okay. So, well, happy New Year, everyone. Hope everyone's is well rested after the holiday break. I think this 2018 is going to be a very exciting year. A lot of things we can do. So I spent some time sort of reviewing the general landscape. And it looks like anything that comes out this year, sort of promising sort of scalability, is probably going to be centralized in some form. It just doesn't look like it's really possible for that to happen any other way. And it's important to realize that our focus is always going to be on public blockchains and decentralization and giving the individual as much choice over their life as possible, which I'll talk about in a moment. So I guess the hot topic will be scalability and gearing up for Ethereum 2.0. So Ethereum 2.0 is going to be introducing a whole bunch of new features. You may be familiar, but there'll be an upgrade to the virtual machine, which will be moving to WebAssembly or WASM. This is going to allow other programming languages with the LLVM backend to be able to use for smart contract development. It means that precompiles will no longer be needed directly in clients. And then there is obviously sharding. So this is a sort of blockchain scalability solution that is essentially using multiple validators over sort of a series of sort of, let's say, loose terms, sort of subchains, it's a bit different from merge mining. I'll send you some resources soon if you'd like to read up on that. Our position in this will be both in continuing research and development of the protocols in Go Ethereum. So I imagine the Go team will be moving more into sort of actual research work and having some more say over making Geth more optimized to run on resource-restricted devices. At the same time, we'll also be working on a new implementation that'll be very fresh, that'll also be helping the Ethereum Foundation with research implementation of the sharding. And that'll be under a project called Nimbus, and it'll be written in a language called Nim. The reason for that is a lot of the research modeling is done in Python, and it'll be a lot easier for sort of code reasonability reasons. We'll also send you a document to that. Swarm is coming up with its next POC, and that's starting to look very, very interesting. So hopefully we'll also plans for light Swarm clients are now coming to fruition. So we'll be able to actually try bringing Swarm to resource-restricted devices again, which is very exciting. So I mean that's more or less on the sort of tech front. Oh, I guess I saw in the design channels that we will be removing the draw from status. That is the last sort of remnant of Sing, the original project that born status. So I think that's kind of interesting. Like it was probably like the last time we'll mention Sing, but The idea behind that name was that the Sing inkstand was used to sign the Declaration of Independence of the United States, as well as the US Constitution. And what this project has always been about is essentially giving that sort of power to individuals to sign smart contracts that could have just as much influence over society and civilizations in general. Yeah. So another sort of thing I would like to address is more on sort of the culture. So I've noticed particularly some new joinees, new contributors to the project. It's kind of manifested itself in terms of this idea of tracking. We definitely do need to be careful of that. Many people have been very mindful of this and how we can do this in a sort of anonymous way, in a way that we're not actually getting it directly from any user. I think that's fantastic. We should definitely be very careful in how we approach this, and it should always be a voluntary choice and incentivized choice to the individual if we ever do need anything directly from them. I think everyone's been pretty good with that, but I think everyone should just be on guard with thought patterns, especially whenever data moves into some kind of black box. Very often it's easy to rely on the crutches of tools of services that already exist and we have. We just need to make sure that either there is no sort of black box in this, or if there is, then we have to rethink about how we design that system. There has also been, I've also been working on another document. We're now growing to a size where we need to start thinking a bit more about our culture and making sure everyone's on the sort of same page. And I think one of the most important things or stances we need to all have when working on status as a technology is this idea of apoliticism. At the end of the day, the Ethereum blockchain is an alegal system that is a system that does not care, and our stance should be as apolitical as possible. For example, if we are a window onto the world of Ethereum, we need to make sure that window is as crystal clear as possible. That means any of our own political ideas, any of our sort of inclinations anyway, we need to leave that at the door and just be as neutral as possible. Internally, we also need to focus on sort of collaboration and make sure that everything we're doing is based on the mechanism of merit. I have a document that is nearly finished that will also be shared, and I think you read it and you have any questions, we can talk about it in the channel after. In addition, I think everyone's been doing an amazing job so far. Thank you so much for working on the project. We're doing the big push on sort of performance and optimization, and a lot of the work that's going into that has just been absolutely fantastic. Please keep it up. It's just going to mean the world of difference for actually shipping a real decentralized application based on Ethereum. So thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to working with everyone throughout 2018, and I'm sure this is going to be an even bigger and wilder ride than it was in 2017. And I hope you join me on that. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jarrad. All right, let's move on. So we have around 8 new people who have joined or are going to join in the past 3 weeks since we had our last one. People on the Go side, closure, marketing, and as Jarrad describes, are working on an implementation of Ethereum in NIM. So we've had 3 people who have joined or will join on that. And a reminder, we have around 20 positions that we're still hiring for, and we have a referral program. There's a link in the wiki to the referral program, or you can just ping me if you can't find it. So, you know, keep in mind any strong people you know who can come join. Um, Johnny, are you around? I know it's very early
Yep, I'm
in New
here. Hey,
York.
Nabil.
Okay, cool. Hey,
Yeah, so from a marketing perspective, I think the first thing I want to talk about is just the growth and the active community that we've seen over the past couple weeks. We've seen some really good numbers in Riot. We now have over 4,000 members in Riot, and we're seeing around 600 over 600 daily active users, which is great. We've also seen a big increase in the number of people in the Telegram channel, which is amazing. And then also, we're seeing a lot of organic traffic just driving directly to Status IM. And we've seen almost a 4,000% increase in requests for early access. So it's really exciting to see that. So with that, I want to jump down into the initiatives we currently have going on. We've got the writing competition, which is being led by Hutch. We've called it the We of Web3. Once again, we've seen some really nice engagement and just seen some good involvement from the community. And that will run throughout January. And we're working on concepting the next competition, which will launch in March. We're also working on some video series content just to educate and kind of give some behind the scenes looks into what we're doing. The first one is called The State of Us, and it's led by Andy and one of our active community members, Ethereum Nick. And that will launch at the end of this month. And then we're also looking into a series of tech talks, which will be led by various members from our team, and just, an open and transparent look into what the development team is doing. And it's really exciting to see that. Um, so another thing we're working on is, properly onboarding people who do sign up for the alpha and then ultimately the beta. We are updating email flows and communications that go out to properly educate them, and then also we're trying to build in feedback mechanisms so we can get that honest feedback from the community and from the actual users themselves. And we're rolling that out next week. On the Status Open Bounty front, there's a lot of work going on there as well. We're in the midst of redesigning the homepage, mostly with the intent of quickly onboarding new users and new projects. And then along with that, creating new onboarding flows for the people who do sign up. So hopefully we do see some some good results from that as well. Another thing that's becoming increasingly important for us is events. We're looking to sponsor and host meetups all over the world. Jason's been working with a bunch of meetup organizers from London to Sydney to Berlin to New York to Los Angeles, you name it. So that's really exciting, and we're going to be getting involved in those as soon as the end of January. Along with that, we're looking into hosting our own meetups. I know Hutch is working on one in Nashville. I'm looking on to some here in New York. And we really want this to become a global initiative so we can just more organically reach the active members of our community. So if anyone wants to host a meetup, please let me know, and I can help you organize that. Along with that, always looking for speaking opportunities around the world, whether it's at a conference or a meetup or anything really. We just want to get our team and our community members out there speaking about Status. And lastly, we're working on what's now called Art Project with the TrueBit team and with a really amazing installation artist named Jessica Angel. It's still early in the conceptual phase, but the idea is that it's a large scale, really massive public installation that is intended to represent the Ethereum blockchain. And it's gotten a lot of really good community involvement from the art community here in New York and San Francisco and in LA. And so Jessica is working on the initial installation, and then the idea is to host a make-a-thon. It's slated for February 3rd in San Francisco, where we're going to invite local artists and local teams to then come up with concepts to build mini installations within the larger installation. And we've seen some really good engagement on that, and hopefully we get some really interesting people to come and build on that. And then as part of that, Status will be building their own installation that will hopefully help people understand how status works and let people actually use the product to interact with this installation. So that's really exciting to see. And then on the next page, the other big project we've got going on with Sean, with Ali, with Ed, and, and some others is really just defining status as positioning. There's a lot of work going on in terms of competitive audits. We're looking at the entire landscape, looking at our own work, doing a deep dive into our current tone of voice and figuring out how we can really be unique in the space. Ed's working on a deep dive of our current social channels and really defining the role for each channel and the role and how we effectively use that. And then Sean is working on a community advocacy program. As part of that, we want to create platforms to allow the community to have a stronger voice in what we're doing. Once again, Status is an open source community project, and we need to make that a bit more apparent. And then we've got all of these streams of work going on, and we're meeting in San Francisco mid-February to bring all of our tracks of work together and outline kind of the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months and have a really strong plan of action for that. So it's exciting to see it all come together.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny.
Yep.
All right. So next we have Hester, who's joined us as our first user researcher. And I think considering it's a brand new role that we have at Status, I thought it would be good for Hester to kind of give us a quick introduction about what UXR does and their role and things like that. So thanks, Hester.
Thanks, Nabil. And thanks for the update so far. About UX research, I'll try and keep it short, and I hope to collaborate with all of you so that eventually it'll organically find its way. I put here my own definition. If you advise, UX research to me is a way to systematically understand what people need, what their motivations are, what their problems are, with the key identifier in UX research is that it's mostly observational based. So you'll find me talking to people, asking people questions, but basically as a means to get them to actually do something so that we can observe what their behavior is in real life. So trying to bring feedback that comes from their actual activities. Next to trying to understand what is it that people want. And that's a little bit more opinion-based, and that's something that for sure is like an additional input that leads to how people perceive us. A common question that I get, which is why I put a diagram on this slide, is when do you work? Is it usability testing? Usability testing is something that usually happens towards the end of a product development phase. And I want to share a little bit the different steps where you can find me involved. And that basically means that I'll be talking to a lot of you, whether it's marketing or development or testing or customer support. So I'll try and get some connections with you across the board. For me, UX research starts with discovering what it is that we should be building, exploring different alternatives of that particular build, testing once we've built something, whether that works or not, and listening. Basically, also what has already been initiated and is going on through ads in social media, listening to the feedback. Reviewing incoming bugs to see what the experience is like. So in practice, what that means is that I've identified 4 types of activities that you can find me doing, which is a monthly design evaluation, hopefully focusing on what we want to build so that we can save as much time as possible later on and give like actual concrete requirements, specifications for the development. Deep dive projects, which could be anything from how do people perceive groups or what is a group chat to how do people get cryptocurrency from an ATM. so a little bit more detailed into current behavior. UX walkthroughs is basically just me trying to understand with a user head on what the experience in full would be like. I put some Slack keywords as a notification channel for me. If you have anything that you're working on for which you're not sure if people will understand it, if you can like go into two directions and you're not sure which one to pick, use usability, use UX research, and that'll loop me in or mention me by name. And this would have mostly to do with usability issues where you have a quick question, should I put button A or button B on the screen? Finally, a request to all of you. UX research is only effective if whatever we find, whatever opinions that we hear people have, how we see them use the product, is only effective if we actually do something with those results. And best way to do that is if you hear it firsthand so that you understand the problems yourself. So I would want to invite you to get involved. I know there's dog fooding sessions. I know you're all very keen to use the products yourself, but also ask friends, see whomever you can get involved from outside of the company. I'd love to stay in the loop and also hear about their experience. That's it for my brief intro, and yeah, awesome. Please reach out.
Thank you very much, Esther. Okay, so before we get into the development side, just some miscellaneous items. First of all, there's been a request for us to have more tech talks, basically somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, even up to an hour, kind of either doing a deep dive into a specific area or potentially around specific events like a swarm closing or a particular kind of breakthrough that a team has, to basically share, like in a very technical detail, kind of going through what happened and the process. And the first one will be happening tomorrow. Ivan will be doing a tech talk on the Go side and how status Go works and things like that. And that will happen at 4 o'clock. It should be on everyone's calendar. And then if you're comfortable with it, then we can record it and share it with the community. Okay, so next we have a video that Oscar has made, which is, kind of out of his own initiative, which is basically using status open bounty to hunt for bugs inside status React. You can check that out. There's a link there. I will send out I'll send out the notes later so you can see. And then finally, there's the offsite that's between the 6th and 10th of March. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then please shoot a message to Rajani and she'll be able to help you out there. Okay. So with that, let's go straight into the development side. Oscar can give a quick update on a couple of the swarms.
Thank you, Nabil. So swarm updates for all the swarms that are in sort of the beta MVP scope. Offline inboxing, after 2 months, it's done. We've shut down the swarm. The major user stories have been solved, which is offline inboxing for one-on-one chat and also for public and group chat. For this release, only the one-on-one chat will be enabled, but the capability exists for public chat and group chat. 55 performance, it's a big bottleneck for us, as lots of you know. It's in progress. We have a few closure devs that are joined, as we found out that a few of the bottlenecks are on the closure side. We have identified some bottlenecks both on the closure side and the Go side, and we have about 3-4 promising hypotheses that we're exploring for this next iteration, and there's a link where you can read more about that. 61 restructure swarm, that's about sort of streamlining the UI and making it flatter and just nicer, better. And the swarm just kicked off last week, and development has started just now. 64 release swarm, this is about getting into a more regular release schedule. So our last release was a few months ago. And we are working on release right now, just ironing out a few bugs. Hopefully we'll get to it end of this week, if not very soon. And then the goal is to have releases every other week, just so we sort of get on a regular schedule again. Also, they're still in draft mode, but starting soon is 58 mainnet, which is about having mainnet on by default, but also a security audit that we'll be start working on soon, and 24 onboarding, which is about making sort of the first experience a bit nicer. And then we have a bunch of miscellaneous swarms that are not sort of on the critical path for the product MVP, but are still important in various ways. So node bindings has been done. That was mostly, it was creating a library that makes it easier for the desktop swarm to consume status go. It's closed now. Dev experience, it's closing this week. Major deliverable there was React Native, which we were half a year behind or so, which has now been updated, and lots of general refactoring, and also some profiling, which is very useful for the performance swarm. 10 bounties. It's been ongoing for about 2 months. Its process is generally going well. It's still a work in progress and sort of getting more bounties posted on status go. Next town hall will probably have more detailed statistics on that. And desktop swarm, it's in progress. You've probably all seen it by now, but we have some binaries with group chats and notifications, and it's still ongoing work with some bug fixes and new features. And I think Andre will talk more about it later during this town hall. So that's it for the swarm update. I don't know, Nabil, do you want to take the next one, or should I do it? I'll go on. All right, so doing a bit of a team restructuring into core and research. We're moving from closure and a go team to more core and research. And core has an emphasis on shipping on time and cutting features in order to actually release in a timely manner. Whereas research is more emphasis on sort of development of critical underlying infrastructure and also more experimental initiatives. This includes things like Whisper version 6, ULC, less smart contracts, and also things like desktop and so on. And one person can be active in swarms in both these areas. It's completely fine. And both of these areas are important and critical, but they sort of operate in a different time frame. So this is more about making sure that everyone in sort of this specific team, they're working on the same goal and sort of clear what the priorities are for each respective team. That's it for me. Thank you. We'll be doing the rename of the Slack channel after this call.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Oscar. A quick update on status open bounty. Are you there?
Yep. Cool. So just very quickly from my side. So as you saw at the presentation, so we've had some new hires, which is very exciting. Our team is growing quickly. So we've managed to kick off the open bounty swarm. So that's 15.9. We had a session yesterday as a kickoff. So we've got our new members getting up to speed. So the priority is getting everyone up to speed about what's going on, what are the tools, what are the applications, what they need to know. So we can really kick off a lot of the work and really increase our velocity and output. So what we're going to be working through over the next week or so is breaking down our user stories and estimating the size, kind of develop the roadmap for SOB v2. So just a couple of the kind of the obvious features that we're working on will be the priority and focus. Is the first one is, as Johnny mentioned, was the site redesign. The couple of other ones are around the sort and filtering, which is some UI changes. Another big one that came from the guys at Aragon was an auto funding bot. So we've just taken over that one and we're going to be kickstarting the work on that one. There's also a bounty out on that one. And organization dashboards. So that's putting together a little bit of a dashboard around people and organizations that we want to onboard, getting them a little bit more information. And just generally improving the workflow and the process for posting bounties, both internally and also for the community. And then the other stuff that's also going on is we're working with the team at Consensus on standardizing bounty contracts. So that work has started last month and it's ongoing, and we're getting kind of closer and closer. So that'll be really, really good. So across all the couple of the bounty platforms out there, that we all come up with a agreement and a standardized bounties contract, and we kind of don't separate out and create things in silos, and we really develop the community cohesively and together. So that I'll hopefully have more information on that by next town hall. Cool, that's it from me.
Thanks a lot, Arash. Next we'll talk a bit about latency. Roman's been working on it. Roman, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome.
This is just part of changes which should be done to improve performance of application. So these numbers are not quite precise because it was kind of hard to understand when exactly I touched the screen because I just can't see this on iOS, and on Android it's not clear when exactly it starts working. So as you see, previously this all about is this is about navigation from chats to console chat and back. So previously we rendered the whole chat screen when we navigate to that screen, and that's why response was quite slow, and it was kind of 800 milliseconds on Android Galaxy Note 4, and now response is kind of 200 milliseconds, which is quite faster, so a user will see response mostly immediately, and after that we will load messages in chat, so the difference is big, but it's hard to show precise numbers. This is iOS, and you can see the difference, I hope. But yeah, on slow devices, it's a bit more noticeable. To be honest, I can't see the difference on this GIF right here.
Probably when you load the GIF. When you load the GIF, you'll be able to see it. Like I'll send it around. I guess over video conference.
Yes. So this is only part of changes. As Oscar mentioned, we have some number of hypotheses which should be checked, and this one was only related to closure side, but guys on Go side already found some possible bottlenecks related to Whisper topic usage, the way how we use it at the moment. So yeah, that's only first step. That's
awesome.
it.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Roman. And next we have a quick update on desktop. Chad or Andre, what do you guys want to? Andre or Chad?
Hey,
okay.
Hey.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so they have some prototype for the fooding inside status. So for our internal purpose now, and I have a demo, so I can share my screen and show.
Yep. So let me stop sharing mine, and then if you share yours, it should come up.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I have here the status mobile for demo purposes. Let's open status desktop. So you can see here we can recover status account or create new account. Let's create new one. And the design is not developed yet, so this UI is just for prototype. And you can add new contact by contact key or join public chat. Let's join the status public chat, and also on mobile join the same public chat, and we can type oh wow. Okay. So you can see because my desktop application not in focus, I received notification with our status sound. And also this functionality implemented only in the desktop. I can add contact and open chat. Okay. So yeah, you can see this is direct messages, and it works over Whisper between desktop and mobile. So that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.